Hi there, and welcome back to another Thomas Wooden Railway discussion. Today, we're going to take a look at the Horrid Lorries. These three troublemakers are some of my favorite Thomas Wooden Railway and Thomas and Friends TV series characters ever, because just the fact that they only appeared in one episode and they caused so much trouble. But Sir Topham Hatt certainly sent them packing, and we haven't heard from them since. I feel like the Horrid Lorries, I wish they could have been more. I wish they could have been in more episodes. Definitely, they were great villains. They're not diesels. Like the usual villains that we're seeing. They're not, just a really angry steamy, but they're actually road vehicles, and it shows that the road vehicles. You know what? The road vehicles, they have their own problems too. It's not just the engines that have to deal with all of the naughty engines. It's the road vehicles. They have problems too. And so these were some really nice villains. It's unfortunate they only appeared in one episode, but without a doubt, Britt Allcroft definitely made this episode a really, really good one. The episode is called Horrid Lorry, and it is one of my favorite Thomas and Friends episodes. They did such a good job with this episode. It's, you know what, part of me says that. Part of me feels that I wish they would have returned, after that, but at the same time, you know what, that episode is just so great that I almost don't want them to return because it would ruin everything, of course. So, there are three Horrid Lorries, and they aren't given specific names. They're just known as Lorry 1, Lorry 2, and Lorry 3. Lorry 1, they go 1, 2, and 3 as you go from left to right across the screen. Lorry 1 has a blue package with a flatbed. Lorry 2 has the fuel package, I guess I'll just call it. And Lorry 3 is, I guess you just be a package, but I'm pretty sure it's something else. We can't tell what it is. But like I said, the Horrid Lorries, man, great villains. And I only wish they had appeared in more episodes. And I wish their Thomas Wooden Railway models had been easier to get, because it's taken me a long time to rack all three of these up. The easiest one to get by far is Lorry number 1, and that's the one we'll start with right now. Lorry 1 was sold individually, so you could actually go to the store and buy Lorry 1. He came with this blue cargo here that's fit specifically for him, and so I mean, it's easy to slide out, but it stays in at the same time. And surprisingly, he's the only lorry to come with an accessory, and that would be this kind of generic flatbed right here. This flatbed was only sold with him when you would go to the store and buy him individually. However, it was sold. Sorry, it's not focusing. It was sold in the Duck in the Airfield set, I believe. There's probably a more specific name to it, but that's generally what it was. It was a set with Duck and Tiger Moth and just the airfield. And so it's really interesting because it's labeled as flatbed, but I guess it's one of those very rare rolling stock that can either double as Lorry 1's flatbed, which I think it's more commonly known as, and then it can also double as a standard gauge rolling stock. So that's really interesting. It just flips up on this one side, and it's really nice because this cargo package fits right in there, and it moves around a little bit, but that's really nice. So I honestly believe this was designed for Lorry 1, and then when Lorry 1 didn't sell well, they probably just reintroduced it in the Duck and the Airfield set, which I don't think sold well either, but never mind. So Lorry 1 is the only lorry to have an accessory with him, and so let's go back to Lorry 1 himself. As you can see, he's not very happy. He looks sad. Just my version of Lorry has kind of the eyebrows wiped off. I just find this model fascinating because it's just one of those trucks. I mean, we don't get a whole lot of trucks. Besides like the new versions of like Max and Monty and stuff. Before this, it was only the Crosby Station cargo truck, and then it's the Horrid Lorries. And so I've always enjoyed this model. If you saw my Butch review, you will remember that it just kind of has this design here. I would love to see updated versions of the Horrid Lorries, but I don't think we will because they haven't appeared in a while. I mean, he's really just a truck, and that's essentially it. And on the bottom, let me show you really quick, it says Lorry 1. In the episode itself, Thomas gives each of the lorries nicknames after they meet their demises, and this is just really awesome because these lorries come in and they think they can do all of the engine's jobs, and then while the engines are trying to figure out what to do, the lorries end up destroying themselves essentially. One of the lorries falls off a cliff, which I just think is one of the best stunts in the Thomas and Friends series ever. When I believe it's Lorry 2. Lorry 2 falls off the cliff. A great moment in Thomas and Friends history. One of the lorries breaks down because of the flour. because of carrying too much flour, and then one of the lorries backs into the ocean, which I don't know how you do that. But as you can tell, the loads that they are carrying are not indicative of what they hauled in the episode. I mean, their models really have nothing to do with the episode, unfortunately. So this is Lorry 2. It's kind of some debate about, which lorry is the rarest. It's definitely not Lorry 1 because he was actually featured in quite a number of stuff. But Lorry 2 was featured in the Thomas Wooden Railway version of the Sodor Power Station, and that was it. And so for the longest time, I always thought that Lorry 2 is the rarest because I always saw Lorries 1 and 3 pop up, but I never, ever saw Lorry 2 pop up. And if I did, it was for an outrageous price, and it usually featured the service station. And so Lorry 2 pretty much has the same face as Lorry 1. So I guess that's something, if they were to redo these models, they should each give them individual faces so that there's something different about them. The only difference between any of these lorry models is the face, and right there where it says, Lorry 2, that's it. It's just the same thing. This fuel accessory is just a standard accessory. It has a magnet on the bottom, which is kind of awkward though, because if it were to be picked up by like cranky or something, they'd have to go upside down. But it says fuel. It's a nice accessory, and it makes them stand out because of the yellow. Now here is Lorry 3, and I actually didn't know this before, but Lorry 3 was only featured in a 3-pack that came with Tiger Moth and Boko, and I don't know how much more rare you can get than that. So I mean, really. But the problem is, I guess I have with that, is that Lorry 3 shows up on eBay a whole lot. I mean, I see him, here and there, and I never see Lorry 2. So I'd probably say that Lorry 3 is the rarest, but for some reason, Lorry 2 never pops up on eBay. So it's really up to you to determine which of these is the rarest. Lorry 3, as you can see, he's the only lorry with a different face if it will ever focus. There we go. He's the only lorry with a different face, and I really like this face because I believe I don't think it's actually this lorry. It might have actually been Lorry 3 in the episode, but one of the lorries makes this exact same face, and that's what's really cool about it. As you can see, just Lorry 3 on the bottom. His accessory is just kind of, I mean, you don't even really know what to call it. It's just, I guess it's just a package. And the really nice thing about this, though, is that it can be anything. Kind of like the Troublesome Brake Van. The Troublesome Brake Van can be carrying anything, and it's up to you what it is. So we don't really know what this is, but like I said, what the 3 lorries are carrying in the Wooden Railway models is not, what they carried in the episode themselves. Unfortunately, the episodes in the Wooden Railway models don't really have that much to do with each other because the faces are different and the packages, or what they're carrying, is different. On a scale of an A to an F, I give these lorries a solid A. They are really nice models. I just wish they had some differences between them. I wish they had different faces. I'd love to see wrecked versions of the lorries, when one of them fell off the cliff and one of them went into the sea, but it's really up to your imagination at this point to kind of, if you want to recreate the lorries' adventures. Should you get the lorries? You definitely should. They're a refreshing change to your Thomas Wooden Railway series because it's not just the diesels who are always getting in trouble. We actually have some troublesome road vehicles, and it's not that they're very different than like Max and Monty, because Max and Monty, I think Max and Monty are good-hearted on the inside, but the Horrid Lorries are not. They do not like the steam engines at all. They do not like engines at all. They think roadways are the best, and it's really interesting. I wish they would have just. I know I've said this before, I wish they just would have brought them back for another episode because they did such a good job with Horrid Lorry, one of my favorite episodes. And it's just really unfortunate that I don't think we'll ever be able to see him again. In the seasons following the episode Horrid Lorry, they reused the models, but they took the faces off of them. So I don't think we'll ever see the Horrid Lorries return, but they are some of my favorite Thomas and Friends characters for sure. They did a really nice job with the episode Horrid Lorry, and it's just unfortunate that, that's probably the only episode we'll get to enjoy them in. But you know what? I've had a really fun time with this Thomas Wooden Railway discussion. It's taken me a while to collect all 3 of these lorries, but I finally did it. And I don't know of many other users who have all 3 of the lorries. I especially recommend just getting one of the lorries, probably Lorry 1 because he's the easiest to find. But definitely get a lorry and add some excitement to your Thomas Wooden Railway layout in your stories because, you know what, there are some good diesels like Boko and Mavis, but there are also some troublesome diesels, like Diesel Larry and Bert. And then once you incorporate a villain on the roadway side, things get really interesting. So that's it for this Thomas Wooden Railway discussion on the Horrid Lorries. I hope you enjoyed it. This is probably my favorite Thomas Wooden Railway discussion to do because these are such interesting characters. thanks for tuning in this long. These discussions, unfortunately, drag on, and I thank you for watching it, this entire video if you've made it this far. And so, yeah, I hope to see you back here for more Thomas Wooden Railway discussions in the future.